Make sure to use the creator code SHEPPY10 in the Rocket League store. This will help to support my channel and I thank anyone who decides to use it. Now let's get into the video. How's it going today? We are doing something a little bit different on the channel. We are going to be doing a Rocket League map tier list which has been made by someone on TierMaker, which has done all the maps since June 2023. So there are a few maps that are missed off on this, including the hacked one, which I probably would put as mid-tier. It's terrible anyway. I probably started off with a few people disagreeing with that, but we've got 64 maps to do, so I'm going to try and make it a little bit more quick fire because we don't want the video lasting like 20-30 minutes. So here we go into the first one, which is the Throwback Stadium Rumble. So I actually really like the Throwback Stadium, and I'm going to put that one up to God tier already. So what a start here. Throwback Stadium has not got the walls at the back of the goal, which I do really like because it means that you have to pass it into the centre properly, and also it's quite a nice design. So I'm going to stick that one right at the top in God tier already. And the second one is Throwback Stadium Snowy. So although I love Throwback Stadium, I am going to have to drop it all the way down to mid tier just because it's snowy. The effects on the snow makes it so much harder to play. And now I'm moving to the next one, Tokyo Underpass Rumble. So Tokyo Underpass, interesting map I have to say. It's got the walls on the side though, which I really do hate. So I'm going to move that one automatically down to a terrible map, along with the normal Tokyo Underpass as well. Any sort of ramps on the side of the map, not what I like at all. Now the next one is Underpass again. It's got the ramp side, so that's just going into terrible map straight away, and it's going at the bottom as well because I do prefer the Neo Tokyo map over the neon sort of map that's on the right hand side there. And then next we're looking at Urban Central at Dawn. I'm not a massive fan of Urban Central, to be honest, but it's definitely better than the Underpass maps. I'm going to put this one in mid tier, but at the bottom end, because I do prefer the Throwback Stadium to the Urban Central Stadium, so it's going to drop to the bottom of the mid tier. Now we'll make our way to Urban Central Haunted. Haunted is probably slightly worse than Dawn, so I'm going to drop it just below that one. Then the night version, prefer it to the Haunted and the Dawn, I'd say. Night versions of all the maps are my favourite. I just like the fact that it's not too bright to play. Sometimes it can be too neon-y if they've made the lights too bright, but it's a dark version, then I don't like that. But dark versions in general I definitely prefer over the light versions of the maps. And there's the standard Urban Central. That's going to sit in the middle of all of those. I think I prefer it to the Dawn one, but I don't prefer it as much as the night, so I'm going to put it straight slap bang in the middle of mid tier. So currently next is Utopia Coliseum. So Utopia Coliseum, I'm going to put it above Urban Central and above Urban Central Night. I do prefer that map to Urban Central completely, so that one's going to sit just above those. It's a pretty bog standard map, not much more to say about that one. Now Utopia Coliseum Glide. This one, not as good as the standard Urban Central and not as good as Dawn either. I'd probably put it above the Haunted one though, as the Haunted one's just a little bit too dark, like I was saying earlier, with the bright to dark contrast sometimes makes it quite difficult to play, whereas the Utopia Coliseum Glide has got quite a nice sort of colour range compared to the other Haunted one. Now the pillars is going straight to avoid at all costs. Who would think to put two pillars in the middle of the map? It's just the most frustrating thing ever. That's why they've not implemented it in any ranked mode, so we're shoving it at avoid at all costs. I don't actually know if it's in the Rumble rank modes. Someone will have to let me know in the comments whether you can actually rank into that map. Next is Utopia Coliseum Snowy. So Utopia Coliseum Snowy it's okay. I'm not a huge fan of the snowy sort of maps. I'm going to put it just below the Throwback Stadium. I'm actually going to put it all the way down to there. I think I'll put it above the Haunted map, but then below the Glide one. Now the standard Utopia Coliseum, it's probably going to go up towards the top end. I'm going to put it just below the Dusk one because it's slightly brighter than Dusk one, and I do prefer the darker maps. Now we're moving on to Utopia Retro. So we've actually played that in a few of the streams, this map, and it's that circular one with the goals pretty much next to each other. It's quite a fun map to play, I have to say. So I'm going to put it at the top end, the bottom end of mid tier, because if I played that in ranked, if it just came up, I'd be like, oh, so actually could have been quite good fun. Whereas the ones with the ramps are horrendous, and that's probably terrible. So I'm going to put it at the bottom end of mid tier. Next one is Wasteland Night. Much better than Wasteland Day in my opinion. Going to put it in the mid tier range though, but I'm going to put it just below, probably just below Utopia Coliseum. I'm not a huge massive fan of Wasteland as a map in general, but it's definitely much better in the night. So the normal standard Wasteland, however, which we've just grabbed now, that one is going to be going straight down to terrible map. It's too bright for me. Don't really like Wasteland, never have, and I always find that I lose on Wasteland. I don't know why. So it's going to go the top end of a terrible map because it hasn't got the ramps on the sides. Next is Salty Shores, which, as everyone knows, is going straight to avoid at all costs. It's probably better than having 2 pillars in the middle of the map, but it is way too bright of a map. You need to get your sunglasses on if you do play this map. And now we're moving to Farmstead Night, which again is so much better than Farmstead Day. Going to go the bottom end of mid-tier. I'll probably put it below up Utopia Retro, because Utopia Retro would just be so fun as if it be just ranked into that map for no reason whatsoever. And next, the Farmstead Upside Down. I'll probably put this one under terrible. It's too dark in my opinion compared to Farmstead Night, so I'm going to put it just above Wasteland, because Wasteland is too bright for me, so I'm going to keep it there. Again, under the terrible map, Farmstead. Now we're going for Badlands Night, which is much better than Badlands Day. But for people that don't know what Badlands is, the pitch has actually got a canva in the middle, so it slopes up to the right and the left. And I hate that map with a passion, but it's better than Underpass. So I'm going to probably go just below Wasteland. It's very similar to Wasteland, except for it's got that curve in the centre. The night one's definitely better than the day one, however. So Badlands Day, you're going straight down to below Underpass. It's too bright Badlands Day. And Farmstead as well, you can sit just above Badlands. Actually, I'll put it above the Tokyo Underpass as well. It's not got the ramps on the side, but it's still a terrible map in my opinion. The Beckwith Park Snowy. So if this one's a difficult one, if you've got all of the effects on, it's an awful one, avoid at all costs. So we're going to go as if all the effects are on, and we're going to put it just above Salty Shores. Salty Shores are too bright, but Beckwith Park Snowy with all the effects on is horrendous to actually, you can't see anything, it's really foggy. So we're going to go just above Salty Shores. Badlands Rumble, going to sit next to Badlands for the same reasons. And then we move on to Starbase Arc. Starbase Arc in general isn't a fun map to play, so I'm going to put this one in a terrible map. But I do prefer it to the Badlands with the Canva, and I do prefer it to the ramps of Underpass. So we're going to put it just above those two. However, it's still not a map that you ever want to rank into. Otgun is very, very similar to Starbase Arc. However, it's more of a neon, and I'm not a fan of neon whatsoever. So we're going to put this one at avoid at all costs. We're going to put it above Salty Shores because I have a passion against Salty Shores. However, below the Beckwith Park Snowy. Cosmic, going straight to the bottom. Who thinks to put a ramp just before the goals? No one. If you try and shoot, it just goes up the ramp, hits the crossbar and goes away. Or if you hit it straight into the ramp, it bounces straight up. When you're trying to defend, you fly off it into the wall, so that's going straight at the bottom. Next is Dead Eye Canyon. Again, way too bright in my opinion. It's much better than Badlands though, and having a octagon shape or Underpass, so it's going to go just below Farmstead. Probably prefer playing Farmstead over Dead Eye Canyon, but Dead Eye Canyon Dark is a good one, so when we get to that it'll go a little bit higher. The Rivals Arena. Now, I loved Hot Wheels as a kid, so I did quite enjoy the theme for that season. However, it's not that great map. Mid-tier at best, so we're going to put it at bottom of mid-tier. Aquadome is next. I don't really like Aquadome. Very rarely win on Aquadome. It's too see-through in my opinion. You'll have to let me know what you think, because Aquadome is quite a standard map, but it's just too see-through to play, because we're going off how well we play the map, not how cool it looks. So we're going to go above Dead Eye Canyon's too bright and Farmstead, above Badlands Night. I don't know what Badlands Night's doing there. We're moving that one all the way down to here. I'm going to go between Wasteland and Farmstead. And the next one is Forbidden Temple, Fire and Ice. Now, there's too much going on this one. It's a little bit like the Farmstead up and down, so I'm going to put it down in terrible as well. Theme really cool though, but to actually play the game, I'm going to put it just below Farmstead, the upside down. And the next one is Neon Fields, avoid at all costs, probably top end, too neon-y, which is in the name, I know, but for me, it's just too much colours going on, makes it really hard to see the ball and things like that. So that's going down to avoid at all costs. The Double Goal, I'd actually put this as a mid-tier map. I know people don't enjoy playing the Double Goal, but I actually quite enjoy it, especially in Rumble. Probably a controversial decision there. I'm going to place it just next to Utopia Retro, not quite as good as that one because it wouldn't be as fun as Utopia Retro. Next one is Neo Tokyo. I never win on Neo Tokyo, so it's going straight down to terrible already. But worse than Aquadome, but better than Farmstead in my opinion, so I'm going to sit it right there. Now, Neo Tokyo Cosmic, so that one's even worse than that one, so we're going to drop it just below Neo Tokyo. The FH Circuit is a very mid-tier map, it's going straight to the bottom of the mid-tier maps. I'm not a massive fan of the circuit going around the side, because when you're trying to dribble up the side, you're sort of sat on a track, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Currently at the moment, we've not actually had many good maps or god tier maps, so I'm hoping that all these will come up shortly. So the next one is Beckwith Park Stormy. So Stormy effects aren't as good, but I do really like Beckwith Park, so I'm going to put it at the bottom end of good map, and then we'll try and rate the other Beckwith Park map. So we've got the Beckwith Park Gotham Knight, that's definitely going to go above the Stormy one. Then we've got Beckwith Park in general, it's probably just below the Gotham Knight. I like the dark effects in the maps. Then the Beckwith Park Midnight is just below Gotham Knight, because the Gotham Knight's got the cool other effects that's going on outside the map, so that's why I'm going to go for Gotham Knight being above that one. And then we're going to be moving on to Dead Eye Canyon Oasis. Now, I actually really like this map, so I'm going to put it at the top end of good maps. Dead Eye Canyon is probably one of my favourite maps of the most recent ones, and with that dark effect, cool colours in the sky, I've got to put it in good map. Now with the DFH Stadium, you can't get more mid-tier, so it's going at the top end of mid-tier. Forbidden Temple Dark, I do quite like the Forbidden Temple Dark, so I'd probably prefer it to the Beckwith Park Stormy. Not quite as good as Beckwith Park though, because Forbidden Temple's not quite as good a map, so I'm going to sit it sort of middle of good maps. Then you've got Mansfield again, which is very mid-tier, so we're going to put that one probably just below DFH. I'm not sure actually whether that should go above DFH or not. Quite a hard one. You'd have to let me know in the comments what you think. So I've just had to shift the page down so we can still see the avoid at all costs one, which why you may have seen a change there. The next one is Forbidden Temple Day, however, which I don't like that map at all, so I'm going to put that one towards the bottom of mid-tier to terrible. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it's definitely bottom of mid-tier. Better than the circuit map though, but not quite as good as the Rivals Arena. I'm going to put it there, sort of bottom end of mid-tier. And the next one is Dunkhouse Hoops. So out of the two Hoops map, I'd probably say this is my favourite, so it's going to go above the Rivals and towards the Farmstead Knight. I think I'm going to put it just above the Haunted, between Utopia Coliseum Snowy and Urban Central Haunted, because the Haunted one's way too dark. Snowy's an okay map, I can play it. The Hoops is just going to go just below there, and then the block for Hoops is going to be next to that, but below the normal Hoops one, because I prefer the normal Hoops one, but the block's not that bad. And now we make our way into Champions Field maps. Now Champions Field maps, in my opinion, are the best maps. I really like the way they look. They're better than the DFH Stadiums and the Beckwith Parks. I probably wouldn't say it's quite as good as Dead Eye Oasis. Maybe the night one might be, but the day one at the moment is going to sit just below the Oasis, and then the normal standard Champions Field is above the day but just below the Oasis as well. And now the next one is DFH Stadium Day. We'll just sit that one below DFH Stadium, followed by DFH Stadium Snowy, which is a lot worse than those, so I'm going to put it with the Utopia Coliseum Snowy, but just above that one. Then you've got the Drop Shot map. I do quite like the Drop Shot map, and Drop Shot is my favourite mode, so I'm going to put it up with the good maps only because I do enjoy Drop Shot, and so therefore the map has to go higher up. But if you played that map as a normal mode and put 2 goals either end, aka octagon, it would go all the way down to the bottom. But just because it's drop shot, we're going to put it in a good map at the bottom end. And now the next one is Sovereign Heights. Again, a good map in my opinion. I do quite like Sovereign Heights, so I'm going to sit it towards the bottom end, just above Forbidden Temple but below Beckwith Park, because I do quite like the standard Beckwith Park map. And then Salty Shores Night, which is much better than Salty Shores, is going to make its way up towards mid-tier. I'd probably put it above Urban Central as well, but just below Utopia Coliseum. So I'm going to put Salty Shores Night there, in between, just below Utopia, but above Wasteland Night there. And the next one is Champions Field NFL. It's a okay map, standard, mid-tier, probably bottom end of mid-tier, better than the circuit one though, Forbidden Temple. Probably better than Rivals Arena and those two. I wouldn't put it as good as the Hoops maps, so I'll probably put it at the top end of the second row of mid-tier. Next is DFH Stadium Stormy. If you've got all the effects on, it's a terrible map, so we're going to put it straight into the bottom end of terrible. Definitely better than Badlands though, and better than having 2 ramps either side and an octagon. And Deadeye Canyon's too bright, so we're going to put it just below Farmstead. And next we're moving on to DFH Stadium Stormy. It's probably not quite as good as the standard DFH or the standard Manfield throwback. Utopia, it's better than Salty Shores Night, so we're going to sit it just. And next is DFH Stormy. I'll probably put this up as being a good map. It's nice and dark. I know if you've got the effects on, then it's not a great one, but I'm going to put it up in good maps anyway. I'll probably put it up with the Beckwith Park Stormy, but I definitely prefer Beckwith Park over DFH, so we're just going to drop it down there. Now, Manfield Stormy, again, I do like the Stormy effects. Not quite as good as DFH though, however, so we're going to drop that one in there. But Manfield Snowy is going down to just below DFH Snowy. I probably prefer it over Utopia though. And next is Octagon Rumble. So Octagon is not a fun map whatsoever, so that's going straight into terrible. And I'm going to put it with the Arc base, pretty much the same thing with a bit of Rumble. I'm going to put the Rumble one above that Arc actually, because it's better to play it whilst playing Rumble than it is just playing in a normal game. Now, Estadio Vida. This is one of my favourite maps, so I'm going to put it up straight to God tier. Whenever I play that one, I do just really enjoy it, tend to win a lot of the times as well, so that's going straight up there. Along with Manfield Night, which is going up to just above Estadio Vida. Love Manfield Night map, one of my favourite ones. I'm surprised I don't have a DFH Night or a Beckwith Park Night rather than just the Stormy ones. And now we're moving into the final one, which is Arc Base Arc Aftermath. Best of all the Arc maps, however, is the bottom of mid-tier, let's be honest. It's not the greatest of maps whatsoever, so I'm going to put it at the bottom end of mid-tier, better than the Farmstead Upside Down and the Forbidden Temple Fire and Ice Wasteland maps. However, it's still not a great map. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that one, and you'll have to let me know what you guys think of the tier list, whether you would have put things in different places, whether you're like, Sheppy, what the hell are you on about? Let me know down in the comment section below. And also, if you guys want to do it, go check out the tier list in tiermaker.com, and don't forget to send me a screenshot of your tier list. I'll probably go back and watch this thinking, why the hell did I put some of these in these places? But because there's 64 maps, it's actually really hard to rank them all in order, as I'm sure you'll find out if you actually do the tier maker. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you are new, hit the subscribe button. We do have lots of Rocket League content, part runs, vlogs, quite a lot of little different things on the channel, and let me know anything that you want to see down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.